Creatives, Radio Now's entertainment talk show. My name is Doris Okorie. You'll be listening to us every Friday at 8 p.m. on Radio Now 95.3 FM and also on our other platforms on our website www.thisisradionow.com, on Facebook, facebook.com/thisisradionow, and on YouTube, Radio Now Studio. Today in the studio, I have a very talented guest. I have with me in the studio one heck of a creator. Fasten your seatbelt. Let's go on a quick break, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. You're tuning into the Creatives on Radio Now 95.3 FM. My name is Doris Okorie. I have with me in the studio a content creator whose sole mission is to constantly provide excellent service. She's an entrepreneur who has worked in several industries, including financial services, aviation, and media. She refers to herself as an experienced curator. She builds, she takes down, and she rebuilds again. Welcome, Ame Okwudi, CEO of Lavender Concepts. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so my first question is, how did you get into the business of event planning?
It's a very long story. I'll try to give you the abridged version.
Okay.
So you know how when you're going to senior secondary school and then they're saying they want to put you in the arts or in the sciences. You know, so I know that I had done all the arts, everything, and I did so well, especially in the sciences. But the only reason I did better in sciences because I had to read extra.
Right.
My mother would have killed me if I did not pass. So I had to read extra. And I now passed. My mother now said, no, you're a science student. I said, no, auntie, I'm not a science student. I'm going to art class. My mom was so mad. She even reported me to the counselor. But God catch the counselor. She told us that, you know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And then when she now called me and said, hey, but you did well in sciences. I said, auntie, but you told us that, you told us that we know where we should be, blah, blah, blah. Right. So she was like, we went to meet my mom and said, please leave her alone. So my dad was like, just leave her, let her do what she needs to do. So anyways, that's how, I'm just trying to say that was where it came from. I even liked to draw. Oh. I don't know what happened to that talent, but I liked to draw at that time, I even did, I think I had an A in fine art or something.
Oh, wow.
Yes, in WAEC. Nice. Because I did it. But after I read linguistics and languages in university, and at that time I was so confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do after school. So, and this was a time when people would graduate and they don't have jobs for a long time. So every holiday I'll learn something. I learned to make hair. Nice. I learned to bake. I was baking in university commercially, and then I learned to
So you've been making money since when you were in uni?
We used to try small.
Okay.
So I used to do all that. I still didn't know. Anyway, fast forward to, and then my dad worked in NTA. So we grew up in Benin, NTA Benin. So I was a television child. I used to go with him, and it used to just be so interesting, standing behind the camera at the control room, camera 1, camera 2. I'm like, okay. It was really interesting to watch and everything. But even then, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then in between finishing school and NYC, I had like a break, so I told my dad that, okay, I can't sit at home more. I have to go somewhere. So he put me in a radio station, a TV and radio station in Benin. And I did it. I did well. I was some sort of a small celebrity in Benin, but from then I knew that I wanted more. So whilst being in front of the camera was good, I was more interested in what was behind the camera, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So until fast forward after youth service, I ran into a friend of mine and he said to me, he works in an advertising agency. And I'm like,
what's that? Sounds interesting.
Exactly. And then I even followed him to his office that day, just to see what it was. And he was like, all those commercials. I'm like, this is it. So that's how I got into marketing and communications. Because not too long after that, I worked in a PR company, and then I was an agency. We did a bit of PR, advertising, and all of those things. I was doing client management, and then I left there and went to media. I did events in a radio station for a bit. Right after that, I went to a financial financial services company where I was head of events, and then from there I grew, went marketing manager, corporate comms manager, but events had always been the core, because in marketing and communication, events is one of the legs, because that's experiential, so I'd always done events, and it had always come very naturally to me. In my house, I'm like the organizer, I'm the one that will notice this, I'm the one that will say, why is this not like this, and I don't mind serving everybody, making sure everyone is comfortable. So that's really how I would say that it found me.
Okay.
Events found me.
All right.
Yeah.
So, is there anything in particular that piqued your interest in event planning?
So I'm the organizer in my house.
Okay.
Right. I'm the one that will go out and notice that, why is this centerpiece covering everywhere? Why is it, just paying attention to details, And then I just used to wonder why event planners used to shout at everybody. I'm like, you don't have to shout, do we? You know what I mean? So I also knew that I could, and I think I'm working, in the corporate, right, helped me understand that there was a way to do stuff. You don't have to shout, you don't have to bully your. I mean, there's a place for shouting, right? Because these vendors, they will test you,
So
but I think that like I said at the beginning, I like to create. For me, the real thrill is idea conceptualization up until execution, right?
Yeah.
So I like that whole thrill that comes with, I like the thrill that comes with accomplishing your goal, right? Then I like process. Again, I worked in the bank, I had to do agency, and then I worked for a lot of corporates as an agency person, right? So you'd have to follow process. Now, you see, the thing about creatives, is that they don't like process. They don't like process, right? They don't want to do anything according to any plan. No, don't put me in a box. I just want to, But just working, my 9 to 5 taught me how to do that process. So there's project management. You know where you are per time. Following that process helps you to know where you're lacking, helps you to know where the ball might drop. Do you get what I mean? It gives you a bird's eye view
of everything.
Your checklist, who's doing what and where and when. You know what I mean? It makes you know where you're lagging on time and all of those sort of things. So I like that whole, when I'm on a project, that's when my skin used to shine. That's when, because I'm excited, I'm creating. So let me just say to you, this is a long answer. So the short answer to your question is, I like to create. Okay.
So in your own words, what would you say is the importance of having an event planner?
So, a lot of people think that because that they have done their child's 1-year birthday, they are an event planner. Everybody assumes like I'm an event planner now. After all,
I was able to book the cake.
Do you
and
understand?
Get the balloons ready.
Nah. Okay. Sorry, don't be angry. I'm not event planner.
Failed.
Because you know what? Okay, so I'll give you an example of the first wedding I did. So she was a friend of mine, right? Quite close, but she was like, I've seen you do work. I've seen you do work at work, and I see how you handled it. I want you to plan my wedding, right? And I said to her, and it's in her own case. I did it from start to finish. I'm saying photo shoot.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. So like her photo shoot, organizing what she and her husband were going to wear, pairing the colors. We did a mood board for the photo shoot. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, from that, I'm not even saying invite, so I'm saying from the photo shoot, you know what I mean?
From the hair
from
on
the
her head.
Yes, everything, starting from that. So she didn't even have to bother about all those things, right? So your event planner is really, you actually should attend your event as a guest. You shouldn't concern yourself with, oh, did the amala lady come?
Right,
Oh, where's the amala
food,
person staying? Where's the
jollof
photographer?
rice.
No. Your work is to give me the brief. Once you give me the brief, it takes all that. Come and attend your events. That's what you should do. But the problem is, and I don't blame a lot of people, because like I said, when people have done their child's 1-year birthday, they think they can do events, but it's much more than that. It's having the right vendors. It's having a relationship with the vendors. I usually say that my vendors are like family to me, because my only work in this life is to make my client happy. The only work that my vendors have is to make me happy, is to make me look good.
Right.
That's the only thing that they have. So even if they have to bend over backwards to make that happen, they will need to do that, right? Another thing that happens is a lot of times there's a lack of communication between client and event planner. So client is thinking one thing, they haven't communicated it well to event planner. Event planner is thinking something else. So bride gets there and she's like, no, this is not what I said that I was going to do, right? And that's what causes. I know that's why people say the event planner spoiled my day. No, you guys didn't communicate. Do you understand? So one of the questions that I ask my clients is, what's your picture of success? So what is it that would happen that you say my event was a banger, right? So we will do that. You will tell me what it is. I will create it for you virtually, for you to tell me, okay, no, I don't like this, I like this. So there are no surprises both ways.
Right.
Do you get? So your event planner takes the stress completely off you. If you have an event planner that you're micromanaging, then you should do it yourself.
Right. Okay. Okay, so what challenges did you face when you started
Nigeria?
Lavender Concepts? Now. Nigeria is not that bad.
Oh, no, it's not that bad. Amen?
Amen.
Oh, my goodness. So, I think that, like I said, the market is saturated, right? There's a lot of people in the industry, who have been there for a while. So it will take a while and I'm not oblivious of that, it will take a while for you to break into that big market where, you're dealing with the cream de la cream, But I mean, I guess at the end of the day, everyone will have their time in the sun. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just be consistent. So there's that. There's also vendors. Because as an event planner, what you do is you rely a lot on third party. If it's the one that I'm doing by myself, I have control, but I can't do everything myself.
True.
I can't be the photographer. I can't be the food vendor. I can't be the drinks vendor. Do you get? So one of the challenges would be for you to crack the code to get the right vendors. Because once you do that, 80% of your work is done. You know that, okay, this person knows what to do, and then one of the biggest challenges is how they say client has Hennessy dream with Casapreco budget.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so your dream is, I'm a lion, I'm a this and that, but really it's one small rat's budget that you have. So just being able to it's a struggle. So there's part of you that wants to say, I know my brand. I can't go below a particular whatever.
Right.
I have to carve a niche for myself and all of that. But there's the reality of that you have to pay your bills.
Right.
So how many people are you going to send away?
Right.
So I guess the challenge is knowing how to just navigate. Say, okay, well, how much do you have? Okay, this is what it can do. Okay, can we make sure that within this budget that you have, we're able to create the right experience? I like to say that I'm an experience curator. I hate to call myself an event planner. And the reason I say that is because for me, it's holistic. It's about, so if you're coming from the point of view of a marketing and communications professional, you're just not doing events. What you're doing is creating an experience, um, 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 exposing a brand. So even if it's a personal brand, I want to do your event in such a way that your brand speaks of what you represent. Do you understand? So people come in there and they're like, okay, there's something about this person, because what we have been able to do is put your personality into that event.
Right.
So if it's a corporate event, we're not just doing the event, we're looking at the branding, we're looking at how it sits well with your overall strategy. Do you get? So event is not just, oh, we come and we come and eat or whatever. It is experiential. So someone is coming to experience your brand. Someone is coming to interact with your brand through event. So our job is, I always say, my job is to make sure that that experience is seamless. So I'll curate it from beginning to the end to make sure that we communicate what we want to communicate. I don't want you to leave there and having a wrong perception. Again, communications is important. It's sender, message, receiver. If the message I'm sending, you're not receiving it the way I'm receiving it, then we have not communicated. So that's the thing. So even in that experiential setting, I want you to be able to experience the brand where the message that we want you to get it. Do you get? So I like to say, I'm not your event planner on the road. I'm one that has brand experience in addition to it. Yeah.
Okay. So what was the most challenging event concept you've ever worked on?
Everyone has this challenge. I won't lie, but there are a few that come to mind. So there was this wedding that I did, right? Again, when we talk about vendors, we have some vendors from hell. But what God has helped me to be, my friends call me accurate timekeeper.
Right.
because I believe that if you start early, even if you have challenges, you would have time to sort them out before the event. So if I have an event for morning, I will make sure that I start setting up from the morning of the day before. I have 24 hours. If it's evening, I'll make sure that I have 24 hours so that, if anything happens, we can rectify. So there was this particular event. I still think about it, and like my heart's just still. I'm not just like, God.
Do you need a second to get yourself together?
No, we thank God because it ended in praise. But man, so there was this event, there was this wedding. It was beautiful. We started setting up early, and in fact, the bride had come. We started setting up, so we're done the backdrop for, how you do the backdrop for the bride and groom, because it was a nikai, right?
Oh.
So, and the bride had told me she needed a lot of greenery, I had stopped, pulled all the stops and everything. But this decorator, there was just something, she was, and then you need to try. You can't be stuck on
using
one person. So you have to try new people. So you see what they've done. You give, because again, you were giving a chance.
Yeah.
So you would want to give people a chance. So this was evening. They'd set up the backdrop. We're just putting finishing touches and everything. So the bride came in. She was so happy from the door. She was dancing. So she now said she came with her friend. She now said, that she now came on stage and was like her friend should make videos for her, and she was dancing. Hey. The next thing, the backdrop fell on her head. I'm not even joking.
What?
I almost died. Like, I was just like, this ground, open and while laughing, I wasn't funny that day. I was really, I was crying. Like, what's going on here? But, interestingly, obviously, so again, thank God it was early. Thank God it happened. It didn't happen on the day of the event, because what would we have done?
Wow.
Yes.
Landed on the bride's head.
Yes. Thank God she wasn't injured. I mean, they were not heavy wood, so she didn't have any injury, but it was one of my, I don't know what moments to call it, but, so, I mean, she's one of the people that have still given me the most referrals till today.
Wow.
Interestingly, because I think she understood that accidents happen. And thank God it happened before, and we had enough time to set it back up before. But yes,
okay,
that's one of the I can never forget.
Nah, that's crazy.
Yes.
Okay, so being in the line of business that you're in, you need a good number of clientele. How were you able to build that?
Okay, so I think that this is my 18th year of working.
Wow.
Yes. And I have worked in the same industry from start to finish. So I've done media, and I did events in media. I have done agency, I did events in agency. I've done corporate, and I did events in the corporate space, right? So, and I think that one of the things that helped me is I have great relationships. I have great relationships. One of the things that even helped, even as client, even when I was client, because this life, balance. Today you're client, tomorrow you're agency, next tomorrow you're media. So next day you're vendor, right? But when I was client, one of the things I know I did very deliberately was build relationships. And it wasn't necessarily because I thought I was going to venture into that. Like I said, when I was resigning, events was never on the table. There were several other things I wanted to do, I had started doing, but I had built relationships, and people see, really. People attend the events that you organize, and I have organized quite a bit. Even when I was in my 9 to 5, I had done big conferences. I had done conferences that were what they call them, international.
Oh, okay.
Trans-regional conferences. I had done big concerts. Some of the concerts that have happened in the creative space in this country, I have handled. So these people, they know you, they know what you can do. So when they need someone who they want to, yes, they'll come to you. Obviously, there's also the part of your, I can't quite tell you, because to be fair, as an entrepreneur, I'm like 2 years old. I've done stuff, cumulatively, but as an entrepreneur, I'm 2 years old. So what I'm doing right now is just building. I'm still building. I'm in the process of building my clientele, reaching out. I can't quite tell you that I have started to use social media as a tool, as I should, but it's on the table, right? But at this time, I'm building. I'm, word of mouth, the people that friends and family, putting the word out there. Because sometimes I realize that if you don't talk about it, people don't remember. So what you want is top of mind awareness. So I'm starting with my circle. Do you understand? And the truth is, in doing all these things, you will do some for free. You'll do free stuff. You will do below your budget stuff. You will do, let's do partnership stuff. You will do all those things. But that's where I am. I mean, God is helping us. We're making small money, but I'm still building. We're still building. The team is growing. God is helping us.
Right.
That's where we are.
Okay, so share with us your first experience or your first big project or first big event.
Okay, so my first big event I think my first big event was in 2012.
Okay.
It was a concert. That was my yes. It was a concert. It was one of the concerts that I used to hold in December. I had just started this job. It was a 9 to 5, but I was head of events at that time. That's the one I was saying that they were like, is there something not happening? But you see, you know how you go for interviews and they say, what's your strength? And you say, well, I have capacity, I'm able to do stuff, right? And they say, what's your weakness? You say, that's the same thing is my weakness, because I'm not able to I've learned it now. You as you grow older, you learn, but at that time it was so hard to delegate, because I don't want you to come and mess me up.
Story.
No, I
I've
can't.
not done. It has not come.
I can't shout. I can really undo it by myself,
Right.
So that was my major event. I had to. So at the time, right? I mean, people had done it, but this was me. This was my first in that space, and everyone was like, okay, so why is there no activity?
Because
Because
why is it that people are not running
everybody,
around?
they're not having meetings. So I like meetings, but I don't like meetings because you're doing meeting, the work is still waiting for
still
you.
piling.
Can we go and do the work? So
Right.
I wasn't calling any meeting. I just email. We have email. We have
Phones,
whatever phone. So I've
WhatsApp.
already delegated what I could delegate. And I will follow up with you if I have to. Then there was no WhatsApp.
No.
In 2012,
12, no.
there was no WhatsApp. So
Okay.
we used to send mails and all of those things. So the challenges were sometimes you could catch people staring at you like,
This
okay.
event.
You sure say I know who na bring so
Right.
there was that there were all those stares and if you're not sure of what you're doing, it'll shake you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say it didn't shake me, but it shook me, but it propelled me to wanting to succeed.
Right.
And then you see me like this. I'm a politician.
Oh, okay.
So you see, you need to be able to use people to work for you. It's very important. You need to have your allies. You need to know how to pitch your tent because ultimately what you want is results.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. What you just want to be able to do is align properly. So I knew who to talk to. I knew the person in business development to talk to. I knew who to talk to in the graphics department who would bring out my posters very quickly. I knew my pally was there. I had my pally on so it was a radio station, right? So I had my pally in traffic. They knew how to arrange my advertisement, so I know. Do you get what I mean?
Right.
So I just had pally. In this Nigeria, I have to have a guy everywhere.
He has to have
petrol
a guy.
station guy, POS guy, ATM guy,
plumber guy,
any
a guy that can call the other guys.
Exactly. So that's how it was. So that helped, right? And it was a big success. It was a big success, and I did that consecutively for 3 years.
Oh.
Yes. So yes, there are a lot of challenges. There's even the challenge from the top. So your bosses, everyone having their own views. So you need to know how to marry all the views you get. So I think that what also helped me was my interactions, right? I don't know. So some people will say I'm a politician, but I don't think I am. I just think that interpersonal relationship is important to me. And I know that when you have personal relationships with people, they tend to take you seriously. They take your work seriously. So I had those sort of relationships. I had it up, down, I had it linear, I had it down. Do you get? So you just knowing who to call, just knowing who will stand, who will be there for you, who will take your matter on their head like gala. So basically, there are lots of challenges. And you see, those first challenges don't stop many more challenges from happening. There are some clients from hell.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But you will still need to manage them.
Right.
And then I think that there are also clients you should say no to. Not every job is yours. So you need to be able to have the courage to say, no, I'm sorry, I won't be able to do this.
My name is Doris Okorie. I have with me in the studio Ame Okwudi, CEO of Lavender Concepts. Let's go on a quick break and we'll be right back. Do not touch that dial. Welcome back. Okay, so we have all been having fun right here in the studio.
You.
You're catching up. We're basically learning, and I think that is one important thing. Why this interviews and etc happen, so that we can learn from it. Whether or not we personally are interested, there's somebody out there who's interested.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get right into this interview. How profitable would you say the event planning business is?
Okay, so I think that it has the tendency to be very profitable, right? But it also is also an industry that, you know how we say it if we say that it's a low entry barrier industry where anybody can get into it. So you don't need to be any professional, any profession, you don't need to have any qualification, anybody can enter. So there's a tendency for you to be wrestling that market with a lot of people who would be willing to take half the price.
Right.
At no price. You know what I mean? So yes, it has the so I think that my advice in that direction would be to know your brand, right? There's certain things you can't go below. You can't say because you want to chop meat, you wanna call cow uncle.
Oh, that's a good one. I should use that one for one of my pictures. Okay.
So my point is, it has a tendency to pay the bills very comfortably.
Okay.
But you also need to have a niche. You have to have a unique selling point.
Yeah.
What is it? Why would people come to you? What is it about you as opposed to X, Y, and Z? Do you understand? So yes, to your question, the short answer is yes. It has a tendency to pay the bills.
Okay. So collaboration is at the core of your business. How do you get to bring these collaborators together?
So I had said to you that being an event planner, being an event coordinator, you rely very much on third party. So you can't even do it. Even if you wanted to, you cannot do it on your own. So collaboration is very key. Collaboration is the crux of the matter, So again, what you want is to have. I mean, if there are even people who do that, you'd see an event planner, right? You know that when the event planner is there, you can tell what drinks vendor is there. You know what dessert vendor is there. You know because they work together. You can, when you see it, and for all you know, it might just be the event vendor. It might just be the food vendor that the client had reached out to,
and then
brought the rest. Do you get? So those collaborations are very important because we need each other.
Right.
It's not always the event planner that gets the job. It can be the food vendor. It can be the drinks vendor. It can be because the drinks vendor knows this person. They now say, okay, please, can you get me, but because you guys are work. So collaboration, I think that collaboration is everything.
Okay.
And then, I just thought it was important to mention that, that event is usually not just always social.
Oh, true.
Yes. So there are conferences, there are film festivals, there are all sorts of events, right? And you see, it's an industry on its own. So there are several people in that ecosystem. You need to collaborate. Because whilst I can be good with getting the sponsors, someone else would be good with getting the speakers.
Right.
Someone else would have access to the right audiovisual person. Media is very important. Somebody else. So you see, it's an ecosystem. I think that the event industry, I don't even think we've scratched the surface. I think that there's a lot to do in that ecosystem, and collaboration is the key.
Right there. Okay, so in your line of business, you work with and for people. As a creative, what is your creative process like?
So I usually say that, and I will not lie you. You know how people just think that, you're very put together, you're very this and that. It's a lie, it's a lie. Have the time. So sometimes you have a brief, right? So for me, this is my process. I have a brief. I will think about it in my head. I'm not putting anything down on paper. I'm thinking about you grill it, you fry it, you roast it, you boil it, it's in your head. For me, it happens in my head first. I think about it. I'm going to bed, I'm thinking about it. I'm waking up, I'm thinking about it. I'm looking around me, I'm thinking about it, right? It starts to take form in my head. The truth is, I have to see an event in my head. In fact, I have to see any creative process. I have to see anything. It can be anything. Because again, I've been saying, I don't only do events, I'm a creative all around. So sometimes I do other stuff. Maybe even a documentary, I'm just saying, right? I want to put out a documentary. I already know what the documentary is about. I already know what this event is about. I know the end. But you see, how do I want to pass this message across? What are the key elements for me? how do I string all of it together? It happens in my head first, and then I pray. Yes. I pray and ask God for direction, and then once I'm through that process, I put it on paper. It then becomes a blueprint for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as you say,
just to say that sometimes it's like 2 days to the event that I will not put it on paper.
Right, but at least,
and then we're running up and down. But yes.
Okay, so you'd agree with me that having people's skills is very important. I mean, we talked about a bit
Absolutely.
of it. Having people's skills. What tips can you share on working with people?
Okay, so the first thing is you need to be kind. I always say that my anchor, everyone that knows me, apart from saying I'm a accurate timekeeper, everyone that knows me knows that I always say this. It's better to be kind than to be right. Because, I mean, you're right, you have killed somebody's ego. You have done, do you get what I mean? What does that do for you? But the truth is, people will not remember what you say to them. They will remember how you made them feel. So whether that person is a vendor, whether that person is a client, whether that person is your cleaner or your usher, they will never forget, right? So I think that is very important for you to know that the next human being, whether you're the one paying the bills or not, the next human being is God's child.
Right.
Do you get? So I think that when you make people feel comfortable around you, they take your work seriously. I have vendors that I don't even need to pay them. They will do the work because they know that as long as she's happy, I know. So first of all, you've built the relationship, then you have integrity. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then they know that this person is my person. There's nothing like doing something for your person. Do you get? So whether I call you as a photographer, you know that if you get there, it's not even only your tripod stand. If you see there's something out of place, it might not be within the line of your photography, but you say this is Ame's work. Right. You will take it seriously. You will take it away from there because ultimately we're all working together for a common goal. Right. So I think that is in passing that message across. That you see, we're on the same side. And you are as important as I am in this mix. People like to feel important. Right. Make them important, whether you're the client or you're the vendor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you keep up with the trends in your line of business?
I don't know how to keep up.
Because there's a lot going on now. Like what's coming from something,
I'm telling you.
know.
No, but I guess at the end of the day, right, again, you cannot stop growing. Mm-hmm. You will go for courses. You will follow the right page on Instagram. You would have the right vendors, right? And then you'll talk to your clients. So you see, one of the things I've actually even learned, even interacting with the I don't want to say Gen Z, but you know what I mean.
Right.
One of it is you get to learn what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't take it for granted, the interactions that I have with them. It's one of the reasons why I think an important question that you always ask your clients is, what's your picture of success? Because you might think you know, but maybe they've seen it somewhere. So they'll help you get to that. So they'll probably send you something that you probably have never seen before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But because they've sent it to you, you have an idea, you can then go and research. So I think that research is important. I think that refresher courses are very important. And then you need to follow the right pages. Algorithms. I never know how to call that.
Algorithms.
Yes, it's helped with pointing you in the right direction. Pages, yes, all those things will pop up for you and all. I think you never stop learning. And then sometimes go for other people's events and just see what's happening.
Okay, so what advice can you give to, people that are starting out or, people that want to come in to the event planning business?
Yeah, so my first advice would be, are you sure you want to come in? I'm joking. So I think that the first thing is to have interest. Let's just really know that you're interested in it, because there'll be times when you would ask yourself, is this really for me?
That's what I want to do.
Yes, but once you've crossed that hurdle, I think that consistency is very important. Sometimes it would be painful. Sometimes it will be grueling, if you know what I mean. But you will stay there eventually. I think that you cannot be an event planner and be a loner. You cannot, it's not possible. You need people. So you make the right friendships. Anybody can call it anything, but see, it's your work, so you have to be strategic about it. So you make the right, be at the right places. Go to if you have to volunteer. You know what I mean? Because you want to be at the right place where you meet your kind, right? And you never know what referrals can come from there. But I think that the sky is big enough for everyone. You know, I used to be that kind of person that I'm like, I beg, this I cannot struggle, I beg. But whether you're in the one that there are plenty or you're in the one that is only you, still struggle. Yeah. So choose your struggle. Okay. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So what is next for you, Ame Okwudi and Lavender Concepts?
Well, just so like I had said earlier, we're consolidating, we're building, we're expanding in terms of clientele. So the next phase for me would be being more structured, you know, hopefully being more on social media, using the tools that we need just to be out there and hopefully capture the right people. For Lavender Concepts to go beyond just doing events to creating our own events, you know, maybe annual events, conferences that are niche, you know, and basically hopefully gaining global recognition.
Okay, so how can our listeners reach you?
Okay, hey, that page. Okay, on Instagram is Lavender Concepts.
Okay, could you please spell it?
Okay, so it's LAVENDER. Sorry, DAR, because on Instagram is DARCONCEPTS.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Coming through.
Thank you.
So that was another exciting guest of The Creatives, the entertainment show that brings to you all the creatives and how they make the magic you see, hear, and feel. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot like I did. And of course, if you have any comments or questions, please contact us on our social media platforms at RadioNow 953 FM with hashtag The Creatives. So from me, Doris Okorie, and the entire Creatives team, I'll see you next week with another exciting guest. Ciao!